So I can't see very well otherwise. Recognizes and celebrates the achievements of alumni who have made outstanding contribution to society. So certainly this is recognition of the outstanding contribution, and it goes on to say through significant charitable work or philanthropy. 2. Exceptional contributions to community in the UK or abroad. 3. Outstanding dedication to the care and or development of others. Last is an act of heroism. And it says here, the award winner is invited to accept the award, and bronze alumnus, on behalf of everyone who is a member of the Conservative Muslim Forum Executive, we would like to present you with a trophy, if I can find the trophy. So this is from everybody, every one of the Conservative Muslim Forum member. It says it presented by members of the Executive Committee of the Conservative Muslim Forum to Muhammad Amin to commemorate the honour bestowed upon him of Alumnus of the Year 2014 by Clare College, Cambridge. So I think it should be a deserving piece for you. And of course, the very fact that everybody is here and has contributed towards this lovely piece goes to show that you are held in a great deal of regard and respect by your peers in the Conservative Muslim Forum.
Thank you. I mean, I knew we were having a dinner.
You go back.
Now that Asif has given me permission to speak, let me start by saying I don't actually have a speech prepared. But there is a saying in politics that you can tell if somebody is a politician, or at least an amateur politician, because they should be able to speak at the drop of a hat. So let's try it out. I'd like to start by thanking Lord Sheikh for hosting us tonight. I was really surprised when, after I told him that I'd been given this award of Alumnus of the Year, he said, we must hold a celebration, and not just yourself and your wife, but the entire executive of the Conservative Muslim Forum. I've known Lord Sheikh since June of 2006. I can still remember when I first met him. I was introduced by our treasurer, Nash Jaffer. And at that stage, I have to confess, I had never actually heard of you, even though you are the second Conservative Muslim peer in the House of Lords.
First.
No, the first, that's right, the first. Saida was the second. Saida was the second, yes. But as I said, it was very recent and I hadn't heard of you. And since then, I've worked with you extremely closely. And the thing I will say about Lord Sheikh is that he is a team player. He built his insurance business not just by himself, but by choosing and selecting the right people. And ever since, he has been working really hard to try to get more people on board the executive of the Conservative Muslim Forum. Our newest executive member, Hasina, came to the meeting today, and he recognises that you have to have a team. At the same time, you have to have a team captain who actually does the coordination. I wrote the thing for the Conservative Muslim Forum website about the Alumnus of the Year. It felt very strange writing it, but when you're the webmaster, you have to write these things about yourself sometimes. And I didn't use very many words, but my experience of going to Cambridge was a life-transforming event. Before I went there at all, I'd never seen Cambridge when I applied to it. I just knew of it as a very high intellectual sort of powerhouse, top university. But when I was called for the interview, and I saw how beautiful Cambridge is, and many of you will have been there to see it, I then realised I would be heartbroken if I didn't get in. So I was absolutely delighted when I did get in. And in the entire course of my life, if you leave aside things like getting married, which are actually really very important, and the births of your children and things like that. In terms of achievements in the outside world, there are only two things that stand out more than anything else. One of them was getting into Cambridge, because it is one of the very top universities in the world, not just in this country. And the other one was becoming a partner in Price Waterhouse, which I did when I was 39 years old. And going to Cambridge completely transformed my life, because if you come from a very poor background, and people talk about racism now, but racism now is nothing compared to what racism used to be like in the 1950s, the 1960s, when people from an Asian background or a black background were very much looked down on. There was just an automatic assumption about everything that you couldn't actually be somebody or do something. So when I became vice captain at the school, in fact they made me joint vice captain. They never had a joint position for vice captain before. They obviously didn't want to risk making me vice captain by myself. That was sort of too radical. And I went to the school registrar to get the vice captain's badge. And she said, since when have you been vice captain? Absolutely with the implication there's no way a brown person could be even joint vice captain of our school. And against that kind of background, to have gone to the best university in the world and be in a position then for the rest of your life, you never ever have to work at trying to convince other people that you are bright or that you are educated. Because a two-word exchange, which you often have with people that you meet in professional life, what do you do, where did you go to university? As soon as you're able to say to them that you went to Clare College, Cambridge, that's the end of the conversation in terms of any attempt by them to put you down or look down on you. And I said in that sense it was completely transformative for my whole life. And I've never forgotten the story of Lady Clare. Clare College is named after Elizabeth de Burgh, who was Lady Clare. And she was widowed, not once, not twice, but 3 times by the age of 30. And every time she was widowed, she got richer, because she had to marry sort of very wealthy aristocratic. She was a member of the aristocracy. And at the age of 30, she decided she'd had enough husbands and didn't want any more. And what she did with her massive estates, rather than leaving them to a relative, she gave them to endow Clare College. And I'm always reminded about the fact that in that era, 700 years ago, there would have been lots of other very wealthy men and women whose names have been completely forgotten. Not hers. And that has motivated me personally in the way I try to live my life, in terms of not just what you do, but also your attitude towards giving and giving to charity. So, if you go to Clare College now, there is a new building that was built called Lerner Court, because a guy called Lerner gave, I don't know how much it was, but it would have been a lot of money towards that court. And in there is a building called the Gillespie Centre, which is named after somebody in the same year as me, a guy called Alan Gillespie, 1969, both of us went to Cambridge. But he went on to become a partner in Goldman Sachs, whereas I only became a partner in Price Waterhouse, which is why he could have the whole building named after him as the sort of second largest owner to this project. But I gave, and my wife always complains when I mention things like this. She says, you're supposed to be modest, but I talk about it for a reason. I gave £50,000 to Clare College, and for that I got naming rights over an archway, a sort of tunnel that connects Memorial Court to Lerner Court, which is where the Gillespie Centre is. And I did it for a very specific reason, which was that it's important when undergraduates go around Cambridge and see these buildings with names, that they know that people who are of Pakistani origin, who are Muslims, can and do and want to give. And as a concrete example, Mosaic, which is a charity that many of you will know, it's a charity set up by Prince Charles. They have a summer school in the UK with Muslim students from all around the world. And a few years ago, the Mosaic Summer School was held in Clare College, and Tariq Hamid, who's a lawyer involved with the MCB and Nash chapter, were involved with this Mosaic Summer School. And as the Muslim kids were going through that tunnel, they noticed the name and they were curious about who is this Muhammad Amin character. And Tariq Hamid emailed me, he's a guy who used to be at Norton Rose in those days, to ask, yeah, is it you? And I said, yes, it is me. And I think it's really important to actually get that message over, which is why sometimes when you give to charity, you shouldn't just do it in complete secrecy. And similarly, when I do this talk, the halfway hall, by the way, is a special dinner that the second year undergraduates have exactly halfway through the second year. And because Cambridge degrees, apart from almost all 3-year degrees, it's also halfway through their entire career at university. And I'm looking forward to going there on February the 10th to give a talk to them. I still don't know quite what I'm going to say, but things come and sort of go in the mind. And one thing you can be assured of is that there will be a word from our sponsor, because I want to remind them, I mean, they will all know about Lady Clare, they're undergraduates at Clare College anyway, but the importance for each of them in their future lives of giving back to the college. So I think that's probably all I would like to say, but ultimately, coming back to the conservative Muslim, and the reason we're doing that is not for our benefit, because there's next to nothing that we're going to get out of it. And Lord Sheikh has got nothing he can gain, he's already got his peerage, and they're not likely to make him Prime Minister, probably. So the reason we're doing it is for the benefit of everybody else in this country, Muslims and non-Muslims, because if this country is going to be a place where everybody is happy and successful and is harmonious, people have to make it that way, and those people include us. Thank you.
Although there's no possibility of me becoming Prime Minister,